Hello and welcome to Banter and Chill with your host, Inni Baby. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Banter and Chill podcast. If you can hear this, please know that this is the voice of somebody who has a shift coming up in a few minutes, but I'm choosing to record my podcast instead. Okay, if you're listening, thank you for listening, for being here. Shout out to Ebose because she asked for a shout out. So if you want a shout out, you can come into my DM and demand for it like she did. And before I dive into this episode, I would like to quickly give a charge. Basically, I would like to talk about progress. And I just want to say that progress is not linear, it's not straightforward. Sometimes you might think it's a straight yellow brick road that you planned it to be, and then you find out that it's not that at all. Sometimes it could be zigzag, sometimes it could go up and down, sometimes it could spiral out of control. Progress is not a straight path, and I'm going to use my podcast to illustrate this. When I looked at the analytics there's something I noticed about the last episode I put out, the one on red flags. On the day I dropped it, so many people reposted it. I'm really grateful for that, by the way. Thank you to everyone who shares the link or tells people. Is it tells? Wow. if you share the good news of Banter and Chill, I really do appreciate you. So, and I know a lot of people shared the link, but then at the end of the first day that the episode dropped, when I looked at the number of plays I had gotten, it was not matching the number of shares I had gotten. So let's say 15 people shared the link, and at the end of the day, I had only like 10 plays. Now, it didn't make me feel emotionally downcast, but something happened recently that changed my perspective. Now, I was thinking progress for me is getting a certain number of plays, but when I look at the episode analytics, for the episodes themselves, those first set of episodes that were like 15 minutes and all, people who started listening did not finish. Okay, and while I was happy that something on an episode is good, I realized that something people just probably they click, listen, they probably don't like what they hear, and they leave. But with the last episode, the one on red flags, I noticed that the retention rate was higher. People listened to the whole thing. That kind of changed my perspective about what I wanted. Sometimes you think, I was thinking, okay, I want plays. But now I realize I actually want people to listen. On one hand, I do know that, okay, maybe you guys relate more with content like that, and I'm going to try to do more of that or tailor content to, that kind of style I used in the last episode. But on the other hand, I've also realized that progress sometimes is not just what you think it is. Sometimes you have to take a step back and look at everything as a whole and say that, okay, to surprise you what the Lord has actually done in your life, because you're actually making progress in other areas that you did not think about looking. Now, this charge is for anybody who is, there's a project, there's anything going on. Just take a step back and look at everything as the bigger picture. Now, that being said, I want to make sure this thing doesn't get longer than 20 minutes or 25 at most, man. So, it's time to get into the episode of today. So today's episode is about dark days or bad days. So we all know what dark days are. They are like depressive episodes or spells that come and go. Now for some people it's just bad days or dark days. It's not like consistent. Maybe you are a certified. It's certified that you are clinically depressed. No, for some people it's not that. Some people just been having a series of bad days, and the pressure is now getting worse for them. So they sink into a kind of it's not even black or white. It's kind of like their whole life is now grey and there's no color in it at that particular time. So personally, I have bad days. What is it with me and this R? What is bird? Personally, I get bad days a lot. No, not a lot. Jesus, no. That's not the kind of impression I want to leave. No. I get dark days from time to time. And today's episode, I'm basically going to going to tell what I do that helps me find light at the end of the tunnel. When people say, don't worry, keep going through it, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. it's okay, it's cool. Definitely, I'm going to claw my way to that light, but nobody really talks about surviving in that tunnel as you're clawing your way. Everybody is just focused on running, building yourself, keep going, keep pushing. But, as I'm inside there, what do I do? Self-care. How do I make sure that the person who's coming out on the other end of the tunnel is stable? What if I come out the other end of the tunnel, a depressed person who wants to kill myself? That's not the end you anticipated, right? Well, yeah. So that's what I'll be addressing today. Now, what causes dark days, or I'm careful not to call it depressive episodes. That's why I'm using the word dark days or bad days. What causes bad days? It could be physical stress, emotional stress, or mental stress. Physical stress for people who work, people who maybe are in school, or you had to do something big like move to a new city, start a new job. I remember, okay, random gist. The first time I moved to Lagos, the first job I got here in Lagos, I was living in Igondo at the time, and I was working in Maryland, Anthony Village. Now, for people who know Lagos, you know that that's quite a distance. So I'll have to wake up as early as 5, so that by 5:30 I'm out of the house. Was it 5:30 or 6? I can't really remember. And then I'm on the road to get to the office. Office will open by 9 or so. I'll be 8:30. I can't remember anymore. I'm on the road as early as 5:30 to try and get there. And then when I'm done by 5, I'll start going back home. Sometimes before I get home, it's like 9 o'clock, after 9, 10 o'clock even. Now, if you're in Lagos is a place that is designed to kill people, and because deep down, we're all sadists, we love it, we love the pain. That's why we are staying in this Lagos. But if you're somewhere like Lagos that is very stressful, you know what it feels like to, constantly put yourself through physical stress to the point that your body just packs up. Like your mental will just say, no, I'm not doing this with you. Bye. So your body is there, but your mental is elsewhere. It has left you and is in Dubai already. So physical stress can cause dark days for you. Emotional stress, maybe you lost a loved one, or your boyfriend is cheating on you with another babe, or your girlfriend is telling you, don't worry, he's just my friend, he's just the bestie. It could even be your relationship with your friends or your relationship with your parents that could cause you emotional stress and emotional trauma, and it can get to you, and before you know, you're sinking into another bout of depression. Now, mental stress. Side note: the reason why I'm careful not to call it, depression, gangani, is because it needs to go on for a while for it to actually be certified that you're depressed. I will list some signs for you, but then the thing with depression is these signs have to be a constant before we can agree that, okay, this person is well and thoroughly depressed. It has to be a constant. But for dark days or depressive episodes, it's kind of like maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, and then you find yourself back. But if it has gone on like a month, 2 months, baby, tell somebody, get help. You really need help. As I was saying, mental stress can also take its toll on you. So maybe for people who work and people who are in school, maybe exams are coming up, you're reading a lot, you're trying to cram everything because you do not read since. It's not that exam is coming that you want to read everything. I'm looking at you, you want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. Now you run kitty kitty, you run kata kata. Or you have work and it has just been overwhelming. There's this thing my team lead used to say, that you should, if because of the kind of job I do, customer support, so she's always advising us that if you have somewhere to go, maybe by 5:30 and your work is closing by 5, don't say, okay, let me do extra 2 minutes. No, the moment it's 5 o'clock, shut the laptop. Sometimes overworking yourself, all of that can push you into basically, for work, it's mostly burnout. Burnout is the word. It can push you into burnout, and from burnout you find that, okay, you're not coming out of that burnout anytime soon. You're there for like a whole week or 2 weeks. You're just spiraling in this circle of not being interested in anything, not wanting to do anything. Alright, and as I said, I will tell you the signs that you have sunk into a depressive episode or dark days. And the first is apathy. I discovered this word recently and I've been so interested in it. With apathy, you are not interested in doing anything. Alright, you don't see even the list of eating. You're not interested in eating. Like, at that point, you're like, anything will happen, may happen. You can't even bring yourself to pretend like you care about the direction your life is going in. So if you start having feelings of apathy, you just know that, what did I just say? Apathy. See, I'm trying to talk really fast, so it's why there's so many blunders. You start having feelings of apathy, and you just know that okay, it has started coming. Depressive episode is about to come. If you notice that you start cutting people off or hiding from people, there are people who do that thing when they start feeling some type of way. They like to draw away from society, from everybody, go back into their shell, because it's kind of like fight or flight response, and they don't have power to fight, so they rather flight. And if you start doing that, if you notice that you don't want to be around people anymore, socializing is now too much for you, you know that you're sinking into a depressive episode. You're about to have your own dark days in the tunnel. Or if there's a deep-seated sense of loneliness and feeling alone. See, there's nothing more painful than maybe going through something and then picking up your phone or just checking and then no notifications from anybody. It's like, although some people don't even text anyone, so it's not surprising that nobody texts them back. But when it's not this loneliness starts getting to you, you look around you and you feel like you're genuinely alone. There's nobody you can genuinely connect with and reach out to let the person know that you're sinking anymore. There could be thousands of people around you, but because you've already started cutting them off or drawing from them, you now start feeling like, okay, they're not there to help you. Meanwhile, you're the one that has been pushing yourself away from them, so far away that when you now look up and see how far away you've pushed yourself from them, you're in the middle of the ocean, alone, by yourself. Alright? Then it starts getting to you. There's also neglect of oneself. So some people, when you find it hard to do basic things for yourself, like bathe, eat, do your skincare, take meds take drugs, I know be able, take drugs if you're on medication, or doing anything for yourself, then you know that okay, something is up. There was one time I found it very difficult to even pick up myself to go and bathe. Like everything was just tiring me. I was so tired. If you find yourself in that state, you know that okay, you're about to sink into another depressive episode, or you're already there because the tiredness, you're too tired to even look after your own self. You know that you're already there. You need to start working to bring yourself out of it. And then there's tiredness and low energy levels. So I already talked about not wanting to do anything, but then let's say even your work or even school, even socializing, going out, doing anything, even the things you enjoy doing. Maybe you enjoy watching movies, you're a huge K-drama fan, or you enjoy writing, you enjoy drawing. Your energy levels are low. There's like no inspiration. You don't want to do anything. You just want to exist in the sidelines. That is a sign that you're probably having a depressive spell. If you start having random panic or anxiety attacks, feeling like okay, the future is bleak, tomorrow is not certain, and you start doing aspire to perspire in your head, thinking of how life is, blah blah blah. You're anxious about tomorrow, and you're panicking that oh my goodness, with the mood you're in, you're ruining your whole life. And it's normal to think about oh my god, this mood I'm in would affect everything. But when you have this panic and anxiety attacks, you tend to amplify it because you make it look like I was supposed to do let's say 15 things. Okay, let me use myself an example. Customer support, the benchmark is at least 15 things done per hour. I was supposed to do 15 and I was only able to do 10 per hour. What if they sack me? Like you start amplifying everything when it's not even up to that extent yet. And then there could be random emotional outbursts. You're getting angry more often at people, you're snapping at people, you're crying. I remember, like I said, I'm just coming out of one depressive episode. I'm not even fully out yet. Random G's, this is not even the topic I was going to talk about, but because it's like what I've been going through, I said, let me just talk about this as a way to vent, basically. So, a gist on random emotional outbursts. I think last week, Thursday, no, at the time you're listening to this, it's probably not your own last week anymore. For you, it would have been like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. But this particular Thursday, customer support, as I said, is what I do. I had to call a customer and I just started crying because I was so tired. I did not want to have to call. I did not want to do anything anymore. I just wanted to close the laptop and curl up like a baby and cry my eyes out. But I had to call the customer, and I just sat down there and started crying and looking at the laptop. And I was like, okay, Fortune, why are you crying? I did not know I was crying. I just didn't want to have to call a customer. At the end of the day, after crying for like 10 minutes, I cleaned my eyes and I was like, the show must go on. You have to call this person. And so if you're having random emotional outbursts, you're crying out of nowhere, you're having panic attacks, just know that you're probably in another depressive episode, or you're getting close. If you're not already in it, you're getting close. Now we're going to move on to how to actually survive these dark days. Like I said, I'm not giving you tips on how to make your way through the tunnel and find the light. No, I'm actually giving you tips on how to survive, because it can be a struggle in that tunnel. It can be a struggle to try and claw your way out. So these are like things you should do to make the journey easier for you. Number 1, let me use myself as an example again. As I said, you're meant to do like 15 things per hour. That's the bare minimum. Alright. Now, let's assume I don't do 15. I do like 50 per hour normally. Or I do 30 per hour normally. When you're going through a depressive episode, it's not the time to push yourself too hard. So at that time is when you identify the basic requirements and stick to them, because you don't want to, you should be careful not to exhaust yourself while you're at it, because when you exhaust yourself, you're like taking yourself back. You will not really make progress in going out of these dark days. So go back to the basics, go back to the bare minimum. People that are in relationships, tell your partner you need space, you need inner peace. Push them away for some time. No, please don't do that. Don't do that at all, please. That's very bad advice. But like I said, go back to the basics, go back to the bare minimum. Don't push yourself too hard when you're going through that phase. Just do what is necessary and end it there. Because trust me, that's the only thing you'll be able to carry. If you try to force yourself because you're scared or you're anxious that, your whole life is falling apart, you will end up doing more damage. Alright? So tell people. Secondly, tell people. If you cannot tell them during, maybe when you're going through it, because some people are like that. Whenever they're going through stuff, they don't tell anybody, they just talk it out themselves. If you cannot tell people during, once you start recognizing the signs, tell them before. And God willing, you have people who have sense around you. They will kind of, look out for you during that time. So, the story of the tortoise that he followed the birds. They carried him to the sky. And then when it was time to eat food, when they said the food is for all of you, that's for all the birds and the tortoise included, he now said, my name is all of you. So he was the only one that ate the food. And then they now all left him there. So he had no way to come back down. He now told them to please tell his wife to set down soft things so he can jump down. But they now went to tell the wife to put every hard thing, every metal and stone and rock the wife can find in the house. So when he now jumped down, his shell got cracked. That popular story of how it was his cracked his shell. Friends are kind of like that. Friends will buttress, good friends will buttress your fall if you're going through anything. So trying to inform them, some people might push friends away when they're going through it, but if you start recognizing the signs, let them know. So they pad your landing for you. Do you get? Tell your friends that, okay, I've been feeling this way, and you don't need to explain that, okay, I've been feeling this way. I have friends that if I just tell them I've been feeling sad lately, they'll start checking up on me anyhow. How are you? Are you good? Have you eaten? You don't, how's work going? Making sure that, okay, the areas you need to touch on, the areas you need to focus on, you're actually focusing on it. So even if you don't have ginger to do it, like, yeah, now, get up now, try and go and get something to eat. Sometimes they can even buy you the food. Me, I have rich friends, I don't know about you. So, like I said, tell people that you're going through something or is about to start. Find a hobby. This is very important. Or a creative outlet. Me now, one of my biggest hobbies when I'm going through anything, when I'm feeling downcast, I just plug earpiece, play Afrobeats music, the ones that I can use to tear leg work and shake my booty in my room for some time. It might be temporary relief, but it tends to uplift my spirit, and that's what works for me. Now, yours could be a hobby or it could be a creative outlet. And as I said, your creative outlet should not require too much effort from you. It should not exert force on your already failing mental health. So, for example, I write short stories as well, and I notice that sometimes when I'm in this mood, what I do is right. But I don't push myself too much. So sometimes I know that when I write, I know an entire plot. I know everything I want to write from beginning to end. But then I struggle to finish it. I don't push myself too much. If I can write 2 words today, I do that. If I can write 2 words the next day, I do that. And I keep it moving. Alright, so find a hobby, find a creative outlet, something that lets you de-stress, something that lets you take your mind off whatever it is that is happening around you. Now, speaking of distress, you should endeavor to do that as well. I did not know what distressing was until I saw it. My team lead made a she posted something on her status where they were doing a distressing. I've mentioned my team lead a lot. I hope she's listening and she's blushing. Anyways, that she organized a distressing thing for herself and her friends. And that's when I'm not like interested in what distressing actually is. Alright, and you can do it alone or you can do it with people. You could try to take yourself out. Maybe if you like watching movies, go to the cinema, close work, like whatever is stressing you. If it's relationship, if it's school, if it's work, cut it off for some time. For that particular period, focus on only doing those things that make you happy, make you laugh. Surround yourself with friends, with music, with food. Have a good time. Don't within that period. Do not think about work. Do not think about if it's relationship. Do not think about it. If it's school, do not think about school as well. Just focus on distressing and just taking a deep breath and letting out all that pent up emotion and negative feelings that have been hovering over your head. Next thing to do is to always remember that there's a tomorrow. I think a lot of people downplay the fact that there's a tomorrow. If you could not meet your bare requirements for today, for example, like I said, I'm meant to do 15 things every hour. I'm able to do only 10. It's fine. There's tomorrow. Tomorrow, instead of doing 15 per hour, you can endeavor to do 20 to make up for the one you did not do the past day. If you cannot even do it tomorrow, there's next week. People tend to look at their life in totality. So you're looking at everything as a whole. You do not understand that, or you do not recognize the fact that it's a accumulation of today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, little 2 days like that make up the entire thing you're looking at. Alright? If you cannot meet up with something today, don't worry, wind down. You can always cover up tomorrow. People tend to forget that there's a tomorrow and they tend to overwhelm themselves with, thoughts of, oh my goodness, I'm failing at this because I was not able to do it today. I was not able to finish this thing today. My life is now upside down no, your life is not upside down yet. You could not do it today, that's fine, that's cool. Do it tomorrow. You cannot do it tomorrow, that's cool. You have the day after tomorrow to do it. Because you're in it, this is not for people that procrastinate though. Because you're in a depressive episode, you don't want to now punish yourself more by frustrating yourself about not being able to meet certain targets. It's cool. Be kind to yourself and be gentle to yourself when you're going through a depressive episode. Alright, speaking of being kind to yourself, learn to take care of yourself when you're going through a depressive episode. Practice self-care. Now, with taking care of yourself, you need to put in extra effort. During a depressive episode, the only thing you should put in extra effort for is not even your relationship, it's not even work, it's not even school, it's yourself. Force yourself to get up and beat. Force yourself to get up and eat. And don't be eating only beverages and increase your blood sugar levels. No. Eat actual food. If you work out, force yourself to do like basic exercises at home. Your sleep schedule. See, when people are going through a depressive episode, the first thing that gets affected is their sleep schedule. Please, once it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep, drop your phone. Try to clear your head and make sure you sleep. Make sure your sleep schedule is intact. You're sleeping regularly as you're supposed to. So, like I said, practice self-care. Learn to take care of yourself. Do the basics. But even the basics might require effort. That's why I said force yourself. You need to apply yourself to actually do them. Then, last but not the least, cry if you need to. However you want to express whatever it is you're feeling, you do that. But don't go around shouting at people and fighting people. Then go beat you. And before I go around calling each other, they don't beat you finish. So don't do that. The easiest way, the one that I would always recommend, is to cry. Sometimes you just need clarity. You need tears to clean your eyes so that you can see front. So sometimes just close everything, cancel everything, lie down on your bed, cry to your heart's content, sleep, wake up, and be surprised that you feel renewed, energized to go about your day, to come out of that dark tunnel you're in. So cry if you need to. Feel whatever emotion you want to feel. Let it wash over you, but don't let it sweep you away. So it's like the difference between rain falling on you and being in a turbulent sea. So you let rain wash over you, alright? But if you're in a turbulent sea, it will definitely sweep you away. Don't let the emotions sweep you away, but allow yourself process them and go through them, alright? Now, as a typical woman that I am, I told lies in this episode. I said I was going to make sure this thing is like 25 minutes and I lied. It's already up to 28 minutes as I'm recording right now. I am genuinely sorry, but most of all, I blame you for believing me that I was actually going to keep to time. Alright, but I'm actually done with everything I need to say, so time for the big roundup. Alright, as I said, I'm done with everything I need to say. I think this is the point where it's funny how my voice just switches. Sometimes I'll be talking and it's sounding deep, and then sometimes it's sounding so light and dainty and airy. It's weird. It's really weird. It's giving two-faced, it's giving multiple personalities. Well, as I said, this is the end of the episode. Don't forget to share the podcast. I will always say it. Share it. Random gist. I got a message from somebody I do not know. There are some Telegram channels I'm on, and I just spam them with links to my podcast. And this lady reached out to me that she actually enjoyed the last episode, and I was overjoyed. I was happy. Maybe it actually brightened my day. So share the podcast. Listen to it multiple times. You might have missed something in the first listen, so listen again to hear everything properly. And don't just share it. Make sure you play. Don't just play. Listen from beginning to end. If you get to this point, you're basically listening from beginning to end. This is to anybody who is going through any depressive episode at this time. Remember that this too shall pass. Never forget that whatever it is you're going through, it will pass eventually. Always remember that there's a tomorrow, and always try to control what you can and leave the rest for God. If you need time off from social media, or you need to distress, or maybe you need time off from work, reach out to who you need to reach out to. Do what you need to do. Alright, do what you have to do. Control what you can, but don't stress over what you cannot control. That being said, we're officially at the end of this episode, so without further much ado, bye.